Have you ever thought that you might be able to pick your fantasy Premier League team based on Football Manager? Well, I'm doing it for you so you don't have to worry about it anymore. We're going to find out conclusively how good Football Manager is at predicting how good players are in real life. So basically, what I've decided to do is download one of the latest databases with all the up-to-date transfers and then go a season in the future, and then I'm going to pick my team based on what Football Manager predicts is going to happen. That's how I'm going to pick my team. A bit crazy, probably won't work at all, but it's worth a try. So hello and welcome to the TomFM channel. If you are new around here, then this is a Football Manager channel. As you can see, I'm playing Football Manager. I'm picking my FPL team based on Football Manager. If it's not already clear, this is the Football Manager channel. I don't know what else will be. There is actually some Formula 1 content at the moment on my channel, so it's not strictly Football Manager, and this is FPL as well, so ignore me. Now, as you can see, I've already got simulated a season forward. Now, I'm using the same database and the same save file that I use for my Football Manager predicts the new season, basically. So this is up to date. These transfers are up to date as they were on the 3rd of August. So unfortunately, no Moise Kean at Everton, no Harry Maguire at Manchester United, but I've just been so busy this past week because if you don't already know, I've probably told you a million times already, but there's a music festival that I help organise. I'm very busy this week trying to help organise it and things like that. So I've not had really time to get another up-to-date database, simulate forward, find the results, blah, blah, blah. I've not been able to do that, basically. So unfortunately, it is slightly outdated. 1 or 2 transfers obviously not going through, but I think it's still going to provide us with a pretty solid base for our FPL team this season. If you've not seen the predictions video, by the way, go back and watch it because it is a bit of a good one. I think it's actually relatively accurate. The Premier League, as you can see, perhaps, well, I reckon it is relatively accurate. Arsenal not winning it, but the top 10 for me is spot on. All those teams in the top 10, apart from Crystal Palace, Wolves and Crystal Palace will swap round, but all the teams that are in the top 10 will finish in the top 10 in my opinion. And if we go back in the other leagues, for example, in that video, I think they're pretty spot on, to be fair. So this is probably quite a good barometer, I reckon. So go back and watch that video if you're interested. Either way, I've got to now pick my team. So the way I'm going to do it is going to go through key player stats. So first of all, we're going to look at goals. Straight away, we're going to look at goals. Now, apparently, Callum Wilson tops the charts. Now, if he does in real life, that would be a miracle, personally. But Football Manager thinks he will. And because this is based on what Football Manager thinks, unfortunately, Callum Wilson is probably going to be our first choice striker for our FPL team. Looking further down the list, of course, we've got Aubameyang and Jordan Ayew, both on 20 goals. They could be interesting picks, to be fair. Florian Andone, he is apparently going to get 19 goals this season. Dele Alli's meant to get 17, more than Harry Kane and Salah. Wesley for Villa, that could be an interesting shout, to be fair, alongside Joliton for Newcastle. Again, and Cutrone, Patrick Cutrone, he could be a pretty decent pick as well. So we've got quite a good selection of strikers here. I'll make a list of some of these names that I think we potentially could put in the side, but we're looking down, even not just strikers. Midfielders, Pogba there is getting 11 goals, for example. He could be a good one to put in. Salah and Dele Alli, they're both classed as midfielders, actually, so they could be good ones to put in to have scoring midfielders, for example. That could be quite good. If we look at the number of shots taken per player, though, Jordan Ayew, he's top on shots. So I feel like Jordan Ayew and Callum Wilson's there in 5th. I feel like these two probably have to be picks for us. Like, they probably have to be picks because the stats seem to suggest they're very good in Football Manager in this save file. Perhaps they are the 2 players we need to be picking. Oliver McBurney for Sheffield United, he's had quite a few shots but not got so many goals, only 11 goals, for example, so perhaps he's an outside pick to go for if we're looking for some cheap players, things like that. Another key area to look at is our assists. Assists are very important to look at. Lucas Torreira for Arsenal, he is apparently top on assists on 15, so he's a name we should probably put down. I would put David Brooks down. However, he's injured for 3 months, I think, in real life, so we won't put him down. Sanchez apparently getting 12. That's not going to happen, but Football Manager thinks it might happen. So if we've got the budget for Sanchez, we might have to put him in there. But Goodmanson for Burnley is also up there as well. We've got some interesting players. Zaha, of course. He could be a good player this season. Zaha on 9 assists. Let's get these names down. Oh, fair enough, actually. This is actually quite an up-to-date. I thought it was a bit out of date, but Moise Kean is playing for Everton here, so perhaps I have got quite an up-to-date one, because Moise Kean's at Everton. I swear that happened after I made this database. I think another good stat to look at is key passes, and Lucas Torreira tops that one as well, so he's probably going to be nailed on for a pick in midfield. James Ward-Prowse, 37 key passes, but only 6 assists. Now, well, he's up there with the key passes, and Goodmanson's there as well. I reckon Ward-Prowse is probably a name we could put down. Pascal Gross is up there. I think he was up there on assist as well, Pascal Gross. He had 7. He's got quite a few key passes, so Gross is probably a player we should put in. Almiron for Newcastle. Now that's a shout. He could be quite a decent player, Almiron. We could also look at cross completion as well, because the more crosses he puts in, the more likely to score from headers and things like that, get assists and things like that. So Sigurdsson for Everton's pretty good. Kante, apparently 40% of his crosses. How many crosses has he actually made though? It doesn't actually say, which is a bit frustrating. But Ericsson, 32 key passes and 40% cross completion. That could be quite good. John McGinn for Aston Villa is apparently quite good as well. I'm not quite sure how accurate this is though, because it doesn't tell me how many crosses they've put in, which makes me think that, you know, Kante could have put 5 crosses in, for example. 2 of them connected, but that's 40%. So this maybe doesn't quite tell me quite what I want or thought it could tell me. Moving further back the field, we need to look at key tackles. Now, number 1 is Koscielny. But he's leaving to go. Well, he's leaving Arsenal, isn't he? Pretty much. I think he's got a £5 million agree move to Montpellier or something like that. So he won't be there. Let's not get him. But Lewis Dunk, Matic seems to be quite good. He's popped up a bit. So maybe Matic is a player we do start to put in tackling. I put tackling down. It's like defending and things like that. But Matic is maybe a player we need to look at alongside Lewis Dunk, for example. He could be quite good. Declan Rice in 5th there with key tackles, quite young as well. Probably going to be a decent player. Maybe he's also a player we look at, Declan Rice. Is he more centre back though? Because ideally he's more CDM. Ideally you want to have wingers in FPL as your wing backs. As your backline on FPL to get the most points, because obviously they're getting forward, putting crosses in. So like Hector Bellerin, for example, could be a good player to put in. He's done quite well this season with key tackles. Bellerin, maybe put him down. Headers won, Virgil van Dijk, 100% apparently. I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? We have to put Van Dijk down there as an option. He gets quite a few goals from headers, I think. So he could be a good one to have in there as well. We've also got Harry Maguire, for example. We've seen Leicester on this one, for example, but had a good season for Leicester, so maybe he's a good player to put in, Harry Maguire. Van Dijk's probably likely to keep quite a few clean sheets this season. Maguire, maybe not so much. And maybe he's, I don't know, it's a little bit different. But Laporte there as well. He's done very well with his headers and things like that. Maybe Laporte, and he's probably going to get quite a few clean sheets this season, so maybe we put down Laporte. We're going to move into the goalkeepers before we look at perhaps a few more team stats that might tell us a little bit more as well. But Ederson is considered the least this season. He's considered 26 goals. So Ederson, you've got to consider him as our first choice keeper. Fabianski, surprisingly, is next with 29, but he only played 26 games compared to the 38 and 36 by Ederson and De Gea. We can't really have 2 premium goalkeepers though, so perhaps Fabianski is the one to go for as our sort of our backup goalkeeper to Ederson. If we do want a cheap goalkeeper though, looking down here, Matthew Ryan for Brighton isn't too bad to be fair. Only 39 goals conceded this season. I mean, Gomez for Watford, I'm not sure if he starts in real life for Watford though, Gomez, anymore. He only played 22 games that season though. Ryan looks like he might play more because he's played 31 there, for example. Leno, I reckon maybe Ryan. We'll put Ryan down on the list as well. We'll see how the finances work out. And Dubravka, he's held 34 saves and he's parried 92 of them. So he's got to make a lot of saves, Dubravka, for Newcastle. And that's quite a good thing because in FPL you get extra points for the amount of saves a keeper makes. So maybe Dubravka, these stats indicate he could be a good option for us in goal. I was kind of hoping maybe like games won might tell me a little bit more, but it doesn't really tell me anything. It just tells that Arsenal won the league because they won the most games basically. But Bellerin and Torreira played the most amount of games in there. Dani Ceballos as well played a lot of games, but clearly didn't have that much of an impact because it didn't seem on any of the top goal scoring or assist sort of thing. So maybe Ceballos isn't a player to go for. What other indicators should we be looking for here? Average rating. Average rating could be a good one. Harry Kane at the top. He's a player we need to consider. I don't think we've got enough defensive options yet. That's the thing, though. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about. Matic is always up there, so he's probably a player to look at, Matic, to be fair. Looking at team conceded, now this doesn't really, on the surface, tell you a lot, but if we look at appearances down here, Laporte played 28 games this season, only conceded 23 games in those, so he's probably quite a solid one to go for in defence. Van Dijk as well, he played a few games, only conceded 22. Monreal is a player perhaps we could go for, but again, were he doing this? Monreal's played 22 games, but of course Arsenal did quite well in this. He's a player we need to put down though, Monreal, because he is a defensive option, and basing it off these kind of stats, it's a thing we need to look at. Interceptions. Now, you don't really get many of these, unfortunately. You don't get any points for it in FPL, so maybe it's not worth looking at. But Christensen there, 118 interceptions. That means he's pretty solid defensively, which might mean he can have quite a solid defence for Chelsea this time around. So maybe Christensen is the one to go for. Maybe a few more budget options down there. Konsa for Aston Villa and Jagielka for Sheffield United. But Konsa, I think, could be a decent... I don't think he'll be too much as well, Konsa. So we can put him down on the list for an option. Now, I'm not sure how much sense that's made. I'm not quite sure how well this is going to translate into FPL. But we're going to give it a go. So we're here now in Fantasy Premier League. I've got a list of players that I want to get into the squad. And now we've got to try and do it to try and build a good Fantasy Premier League side. So we'll start off in goal. Now, we wanted Ederson as our goalkeeper. We decided that pretty much. He had the best stats. We want Ederson. Now we need to look at Fabianski or Dubravka. They're both £5 million. What's Matt Ryan as well? Matt Ryan's 4.5. For now, I'm going to put Dubravka in because he's got really good stats for holding shots and parrying shots. He's got good save shots. If we need the extra money, we'll swap him out for Matt Ryan, I reckon. Defenders then, we had some good stats for Laporte. Laporte looked like a decent player when we're looking at him out there. So he's a player that we want to be getting, and we also want to get in. We'll have to start searching for some of these players. We want to be getting it. Apparently I'm searching for New Balance 574s. Apparently that's a player. We'll skip that. We wanted who do we want? I'm looking down my list. We wanted Hector Bellerin, didn't we? So we'll get Hector. He looks quite cheap actually as well, which is quite good. So Bellerin is going to be coming in. I think I'm also pretty set on Van Dijk because he had some pretty good attributes and stats on him in Football Manager. So we're going to add him in. But before we do the rest of the defence, I want to start looking at midfield. Now, he doesn't historically get a lot of FPL points, but according to Football Manager, he's going to have an absolutely cracking season. So we've got to get Matic in there, as far as I'm aware. Matic... he got 59 points last season, but according to Football Manager, he's going to get a bag of goals and a bag of assists. So we need to get Matic in there. We also need Torreira. Now, is he a midfielder? He's a midfielder. That's good. I thought it could have been a defender, but midfielder. So we need Torreira in there as well. Goodmanson as well, who is now playing for Burnley. Now, he was playing for Brighton, obviously, but obviously that's not quite been updated. But he's playing for Burnley now. Let's get him in there because he had quite a good season in game as well. I tell you who else had a good season as well. It was also Zaha. Zaha got quite a few goals and assists. So we'll put Zaha in there as well. He should do quite well this season. And then before we add that last midfielder, we've got to look at the forwards. And I think I'm sorted on the forwards. I think we just got to go for those three top strikers, if I'm being honest with you. So I think we've got to go for Aubameyang. He's got to be in there, apparently. So £11 million, a big chunk of money spent on him. We had Jordan Ayew as well, scoring plenty of goals. He's playing for Crystal Palace there. Not sure if he will score plenty of goals, but we've got to put him in there because apparently Football Manager reckons he's going to score quite a few. But topping the score sheets in Football Manager was Callum Wilson. And we've got to have him in there now. He scored 21 goals, apparently, so we've got to have him there. Now, we've got 3 positions left. I'm looking back at my notes to see who did well, and we've got quite a few options in midfield, if I'm being honest with you. We've got 23 million. We could probably swap some players out, maybe. But then again, that's not part of it, is it? We want to be doing it based on Football Manager. So, Dele Alli, he plays in midfield. He got quite a few goals and assists. So let's look for Dele Alli in midfield. Dele Alli. Get him in there. He's a doubt. We've got 3 players who are actually doubtful for the first game of the season. Ali, Bellerin and Laporte. We'll have to leave it as it is, though, because I'm not going to change it at all. We're going to stick with this team for the whole season. It means we've now got £15 million to spend on 2 defenders. And, I mean, where do we start with defenders, really? Where do we start with defenders? Now, looking back on my list, Dunk was an option, wasn't he? I'm not typing the thing. Dunk. Dunk was an option. I spelt Dunk wrong. Bloody hell, Tom. Right, Dunk. He's very cheap, though, which means if we put him in, we've got £10 million to spend still, which is a lot of money. Do we spend it on Harry Maguire? Maguire, he got 92 points last season, or do we spend it on Nacho Monreal, who got 77 points last season? I think we go for Maguire. I think United will do well this season. I think he'll get quite a few clean sheets. We'll put him in. We've got £5 million to spend as well, so if we do want to change things, we can do. But this technically is, you know, if you're doing based on Football Manager, would get you a whole chunk of points. A lot of points it would get you for Fantasy Premier League. So maybe we just go for it. Maybe we stick with this. You know what? I'm happy with it. I thought we might spend a lot more time trying to tinker and tweak with the budget and things like that. But the players that seem to be the best that I've put down on this list from Football Manager. It looks like it is the best one to go for. Team name then. What do we want to call it? TomFM's FM19 predicted. Oh, I just predict. That'll do. FM19 predicts. That'll be a good team. Favourite club? We don't have a favourite club. We support Lincoln City, and they're not on here. Agree to terms and conditions. Oh, I've got to say none. Okay, enter squad. Brilliant. For the starting lineup then, on the grounds that Bellerin is probably not going to be playing the first game of the season, we're going to swap him out with Harry Maguire. We want Dele Alli in the side, probably. Maybe but do we? That's the thing. Do we want Dele Alli in the side? He's injured, isn't he? So we won't put Dele Alli in the side at all. Callum Wilson, though, is going to come on. He's got 21 goals. He's got to be in the side. Who would we take out? Maybe Laporte. Laporte comes out because he's doubtful for the game. So because they're injured, they're out of the squad. I can always guarantee that I'm going to forget to put these guys in the squad. I'm probably going to leave it as it is. That's the thing. And these guys will probably get all the points and these guys won't get the points. But that's the way it is here on TomFM. That's the way it is. So, of course, we are going to be joining a league as well. I've already got the TomFM Fantasy Football League going up. So, we're going to join a league, join a private league, and we need the league code. I need to remember this. Right, so I've got the league code. It's pretty simple. It's gvpvsr. So that's the league to join my Fantasy Premier League, if you want to join that. TomFL's FPL Bonanza. There will be a link in the description, of course, to Fantasy Football. You can copy and paste the code from the description as well of the video. You can get involved with that. Let's look at the standings. How many of you guys are in here? There's me, obviously, with this TomFM Predicts League, but I'm also in here as well with my actual team that I'm actually going to be playing with. There's actually quite a lot of you. 2 pages worth. There's me. 50. I think that means there's 51 people. I think it's 50 per page. So 51 people in here so far. If we can get to 100, that'd be smashing. So that then was me picking Fantasy Premier League based on Football Manager. Let's see how it does. We'll do a review at the end of the season if we even remember it, sort of thing. So we'll do a review then. Hopefully it beats someone. It doesn't come last. That's my goal. If it doesn't come last, it's been a success. So thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Something a little bit different for you. If you enjoyed it, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And I'll see you next time for some more Football Manager content. Have a good one. Goodbye.